There's a conversation test that women give men within the first 10 minutes of meeting. Most guys have no idea it's even happening. They think the conversation is going great. They're telling stories, making jokes, keeping things light. Meanwhile, she's already decided he failed. And the brutal part, the test is so simple that when I tell you what it is, you'll think I'm lying. But I've watched thousands of men bomb this without realizing it. Smart men, successful men, good-looking men, doesn't matter. 85% still fail. Here's the test. She mentions something personal about herself. Could be small, could be big, something about her day, her work, her opinion on something, and in that moment, she's watching to see what you do next. Most men do one of three things. They either one-up her with their own story, they give generic validation like that's cool and move on, or they immediately try to fix whatever she mentioned. All three instant failure. The one-upper, let's say she mentions she had a stressful day at work, dealing with a difficult client. The one-upper hears work story and his brain goes, "Oh, I have a work story too." So he jumps in. "Yeah, I totally get that. Last week I had this client who," and he's off to the races, talking about himself, his experience, his story. In his mind, he's relating to her, building connection through shared experience. In her mind, he just made himself the main character. He took her moment and redirected all the attention to himself. She wanted to be heard. He wanted to be interesting. She closes off a little bit more. He doesn't even notice. The validator. This guy thinks he's doing better. She mentions something and he responds with, "Oh, that's awesome," or "That's really cool," or "Nice," then immediately changes the subject or waits for the next thing to validate. He's not taking over the conversation. He's being supportive. So why does he fail? Because generic validation is what everyone gives her, her friends, her family, random people online. It requires zero effort, zero genuine interest. It's conversational fast food, filling but not nourishing. When a woman shares something real and you respond with surface-level validation, you're telling her, "I heard the words you said, but I don't actually care enough to go deeper." She feels it, that hollowness, that sense you're just going through the motions. The fixer. This is where a lot of good-intentioned men crash and burn. She mentions a problem or frustration, and his instinct is to help, to solve, to give advice. Sounds like you need to set better boundaries with that client. Have you tried talking to your boss about it? What you should do is he thinks he's being helpful, showing value, demonstrating that he can handle problems, but unless she specifically asks for advice, trying to fix her problems is another form of making it about you, about what you know, what you can do, how you can solve things. She doesn't want a consultant. She wants connection, what passing looks like. So what's the right answer? What does passing this test actually look like? She says, "I had such a stressful day dealing with this impossible client." You say, "What made them so impossible?" That's it. A simple follow-up question that shows you're actually interested in her experience, not your similar experience, not your opinion about what she should do, her experience. Then you shut up and listen, really listen, not planning what you're going to say next, not waiting for your turn to talk, actually absorbing what she's telling you. She mentions she's learning to paint. Instead of, "Oh, cool, I used to draw," or "That's awesome," you ask, "What made you want to start painting?" She tells you about moving to a new city. Instead of advice about the best neighborhoods or your story about when you moved, you ask, "How's that transition been for you?" See the pattern? You're going deeper into her world instead of pulling the conversation into yours. Why this works? Here's what most men don't understand. Women spend their entire lives having conversations where they're not really heard, where people listen just enough to find their entry point to talk about themselves. When you're a woman, especially an attractive one, men are constantly performing for you, trying to impress you, competing for your attention by showcasing how interesting they are. So when a man shows up who's genuinely curious about her thoughts, her experiences, her perspective without trying to top it or fix it or move past it, something rare happens. She feels seen, not admired, not desired, seen as a person, as someone with a complex inner world worth exploring. That creates attraction on a level that looks and money can't touch because you're offering something she rarely gets. The experience of being the main character in the conversation with a man who's secure enough not to need that role for himself. The deeper truth. This test reveals something crucial about a man. It shows whether he's actually interested in her as a person or just interested in the idea of her, whether he can get out of his own head long enough to be present with someone else. Most men are so focused on not screwing up, on saying the right thing, on being attractive, that they forget the basics of human connection: curiosity, attention, presence. Women aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who makes them feel like they matter, like their thoughts and feelings are worth exploring, like they're more than just a pretty face or a potential girlfriend. Your move. Next time you're talking to a woman, pay attention. When she shares something about herself, notice your first instinct. Is it to relate it to your experience, to validate and move on, to solve her problem? Catch that instinct and instead get curious. Ask a follow-up question. Go deeper into what she's saying. Make her the focus. 85% of men will keep failing this test because they're too self-focused to even realize it's happening. Be in the 15% who pass, not through manipulation or technique, but through genuine interest in the person in front of you. That's what separates boys from men. Boys need to be interesting. Men are interested.